look out the window. It'll take your mind off the pain. And when you're done, I've got more lollies.
No, thanks. I already helped myself. See you later, inoculator.
You can run, but nobody escapes the needle. Darlene, cancel all my appointments.
But I need that kidney now.
One way or another, I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna get you one way or another. I'm gonna see you. Get you one way or another. I'm gonna see you. I'm gonna meet you one day. Maybe next week. I'm gonna meet you. I'll meet you.
Black on black violence must end. That was for Dr. King.
Google is seeking approval from the U.S. government to release up to 32 million mosquitoes in California and Florida as part of their debug program. The initiative is aimed at reducing disease-carrying mosquito populations by introducing sterile mosquitoes that can eliminate the spread of illnesses like dengue fever and Zika.
The EPA recently approved an experimental use permit to Oxitec, a biotech company funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. In an effort to fight malaria, Oxitec will soon release millions of genetically modified mosquitoes in various U.S. states. According to the NIH website, programs are being developed to allow human immunization via mosquito bite.
Listen, I know you're upset and all, but I kind of feel we should finish the game.
We? Why do you need me?
Well, just in case any other scary stuff comes out. Plus, there's a lion in my aunt's bedroom. What am I supposed to do about that?
What do I look like, a ringling brother?
But she'll be home soon.
Won't she be surprised? I hope she's not allergic to cats.
Larry, we need the wheels. Give me a hand.
Did we hit her that hard?
No, it looks like another one of those weird bites. Yeah, it's another one, all right.
Jeez, that's over 50. What the hell's going on?
It's a process that does not involve genetic modification, chemicals, or toxins. The CDC identifies mosquitoes as the deadliest animals globally, responsible for hundreds of millions of illnesses a year.
It was Science magazine that coined the phrase, flying syringes.
Now, malaria is, of course, transmitted by mosquitoes. I brought some here so you could experience this. We'll let those roam around the auditorium a little bit.
Easy now, easy.
Hey, look. Isn't that Mrs. Thomas? Who's the realtor?
Quiet. Listen. You hear that?
Hear what?
Get in the car.
Okay, think. What came out of the game before me?
There was a lion, a bunch of monkeys, and,
It's okay. It's okay. It's just a bug. But we're safe in here. See? We're fine.
There's no reason only poor people should have the experience. Those mosquitoes are not infected.
Oh, sure, yeah. I'm sure they're not infected. In case you don't already know, that's Bill Gates who pulled that wild stunt during one of his infamous TED Talks. Now, usually we would chalk it up to a billionaire having fun by pulling off wild stunts, but in today's America, mosquitoes are anything but funny. In fact, right as I speak, these mosquitoes are wreaking havoc across the United States and killing people without any mercy.
Well, Doug and Antoinette, Acton is now one of several communities that is at high risk for EEE and West Nile virus.
The city does daily testing and has found an increase in insects carrying West Nile virus.
It's a small town, and the idea that somebody already died from this before we'd even heard anything really about it is pretty scary.
Some mosquitoes spread viruses, and they are making people sick across the country. Hundreds of people have gotten West Nile.
Google is best known for search engines and smartphones, so you might wonder why the company is proposing to release millions of bioengineered mosquitoes in Florida. It is part of an effort to reduce the spread of dangerous diseases like West Nile virus. 10 Tampa Bay News reporter Eric Glasser explains the science behind this idea and why the tech giant is involved.
Well, it may sound unusual, but Google has filed an application with the EPA seeking approval to release up to 32 million specially treated mosquitoes in Florida and California over the next 2 years.
As long as we stay low, he can't get through there too far, okay? Don't you worry. We're fine. Okay, he can't get us in here. He can't get through the glass. We're safe. Either one of you know how to drive? No? Oh, that's no problem. Well, my dad used to let me back the car down the driveway once. So what's the big deal? Here we go! Oh, wait a minute. What? Wait. Oh.
Hey, Terrence and Sylvia. Well, we know mosquitoes thrive in these warm summer months, and cases are most common in areas near bodies of water. While Triple E is rare.
As you just heard, the scariest diseases spread by these mosquitoes are the West Nile disease and Eastern equine encephalitis, or Triple E as it's most commonly known. And people are smart to be afraid of these diseases because of just how lethal they can be. This West Nile virus has already put Dr. Anthony Fauci in the hospital. Now, he's recovering quickly because he has the milder form of the disease. If you are unfortunate enough to develop the neurological form of this disease, you can experience brain inflammation and swelling, which results in confusion, seizures, paralysis, coma, and death.
Hey, get away! Just get away from me, Peter! Hey, take it easy, Quagmire. Nobody wants to hurt you, right, Joe? Gotcha! Ha! Hepatitis C! Joke's on you, I already got it. Meningitis! I'm a carrier. Gonorrhea! Patient 0. You're gonna have to do better than that. I don't know, Joe, that's it. We're out of known diseases. Unless... All right, what this is has no name, so you can't have it.
We got him.
Halloween is fun.
Some people can also experience long-term neurological consequences as a result of contracting West Nile. And this year it seems like this deadly disease is spreading at a much faster rate, and that's exactly why health experts are warning people to take precautions as the mosquito season is now fully in force.
And so it's an absolute lie that has killed thousands of kids, because the mothers who heard that lie, many of them didn't have their kids take either pertussis or measles vaccine, and their children are dead today. And so, the people who go and engage in those anti-vaccine efforts, they kill children. It's a very sad thing, because these vaccines are important.
Developing the vaccines, the scientific research that goes into that, obviously one thing, and then distributing things even after they've been created. Someone said to me once that even if the cure for HIV/AIDS came in the form of a clean glass of water, we still wouldn't get rid of AIDS in the world because of actually distributing some of these things. How do you address a challenge like that, no matter the money?
Well, there are fantastic ways of getting vaccines out. That's a system that's been built up over the years. In the case of smallpox, they just used a vaccine and they eradicated the disease all the way back in 1979. We cover about 75% of the world's children with the vaccines. All you're doing is gathering women for the villages, getting them the vaccine and asking them to go around and find the children. And then you pay other people who are independent to come in, look at the children, survey, see what the coverage rate is. You also have clear indicators. Measles will always show you if somebody's not doing a good job on vaccination, kids will start dying of measles. And so we know when we spend money that the group we've asked to go do that vaccination, they've delivered.
Hi, I'm Scott O'Neill here in Medellin, Colombia today, and I'm at the world's biggest mosquito factory for the World Mosquito Program. We're making in here 30 million mosquitoes a week. Come and have a look. We're doing it for a very serious reason. Cities like Medellin have suffered from diseases like dengue, Zika, chikungunya for decades, but not anymore. We've been able to bring the solution of Wolbachia mosquitoes to this city. When this bacteria called Wolbachia gets introduced into the mosquito, it stops their ability to transmit dengue. We release mosquitoes that have Wolbachia, and then they go and mate, and Wolbachia gets passed into the wild mosquito population. If we're going to control these diseases in all the tropical cities of the world, it's going to require a lot of mosquitoes.
And this spike in West Nile cases is accompanied by rising fatalities from the Triple E virus, which is way more fatal but usually spreads at a much slower rate. A 41-year-old New Hampshire resident has already died because of Triple E virus infection, as this lethal mosquito-borne virus continues to spread in New England. Things are getting so bad on the East Coast that nearly a dozen people in Massachusetts are now designated at high or critical risk for the Triple E virus. These same towns have now decided to close down public parks at night and restrict outdoor activities as mosquitoes are most active after sundown.
You've talked about smallpox sort of being a little bit of a model in terms of proof of principle that it can be done. D.A. Henderson, Donald Henderson, who was with the World Health Organization at the time this was done, has said, look, when you talk about polio, is this more of a movement rather than a public health initiative using objective evidence? And I think what he was saying is that should this be more about annual immunizations rather than sort of trying to find this moment in time?
Well, when you talk to mothers whose children are paralyzed, I think no matter what you label it, it should be about getting rid of this evil disease. I don't think there's any philosophy that suggests having polio is a good thing. The world has been very careful to pick very few diseases for eradication because it is very tough. After smallpox got finished, the lesson from that was the miracle of vaccines, not that we should immediately take on other diseases.
You've talked about Afghanistan and Pakistan and the polio vaccine, and you've said that doing this, the vaccination campaign, can help stabilize a war-torn region like this.
What you're seeing is that the density in the poor areas is greater than they can grow the food, greater than they can educate, greater than they can provide the jobs. So you create these hotspots of instability. So even if all you care about is national security, these health things are a very cheap way to make sure you're not going to have turmoil that eventually would affect the whole world.
The mosquito life cycle starts with the egg, and in this room we've got a lot of eggs. Each one of these strips, these tiny black dots, are up to 10,000 mosquito eggs. Across all of these strips, about 1.5 million dried eggs waiting to hatch. In this tray, we've got the newly hatched eggs. They're little larvae, so small you can hardly see them. They're going to sit in here for a few days and eat and get bigger until they look like these ones over here. They're starting to turn into pupae. We're wanting to do the next step of sorting.
Hampshire resident died after testing positive for a mosquito-borne encephalitis virus. Dr. Tony Fauci was recently hospitalized with West Nile virus. One town in Massachusetts, residents are being asked to stay indoors after dark so they don't get bitten as much by mosquitoes. And now there's this new thing called sloth fever. So is this where you're, oh yeah, no, this happens, you're just deciding to report on it now, or no, this doesn't usually happen, and We have to be aware, and here's why.
Yeah, these mosquito-transmitted viruses are indeed accelerating, Chris, and it's happening not only in the eastern half of the United States and on the Gulf Coast and where I am in Texas, but it's also happening in the Caribbean, and it's happening in Brazil and in Central Latin America. So it's a hemisphere-wide problem. This is going to be one of our new normals, unfortunately.
Is there a diplomatic part of this? I mean, the fact that your foundation, other organizations in partnership are doing this, is that part of it?
The general idea of the rich helping the poor, I think, is important. That your sense of justice says, why should rich kids who barely get these diseases and almost never die of them, why should they get the vaccines where poor kids who actually do die of these diseases don't get those things? It's a unbelievable inequity that there isn't that access. And it's been 15 years usually between when rich kids get vaccines and poor kids do.
There was an article about concerns about corruption and fraud with regard to the Global Fund. Do you expect just to have a certain amount of corruption and fraud? Just say, you know what, to do the work that we do, we have to expect and accept a certain amount of that?
Well, the Global Fund does a fantastic job. They've seen typically about 3 or 4% of the money they spend not be applied properly. So yes, you're going to have some, but it's fine. This is saving lives for well less than 1% of what you would spend in the rich world. And if you think lives are created equal, this says that, well, are they at least worth 1%? By and large, it's the one health intervention that can get to everyone. And fortunately, even though it's a few percent of the cost of most health things, over half of the lives saved by medicine come from vaccination. In fact, it's so simple, people often forget what a big deal this is. The 2 million people who'd be dying of smallpox now, they don't think, wow, I'm alive because of vaccination, but that's the case.
Sorting the males from the females. We want to do that so we can manipulate the sex ratio in the cages to be more female than male. The bottom ones along here are the boys, and the ones at the top are the girls. They're bigger. From here, they're going into the adult cages. We have adults that we continuously grow in what we call our brood stock. And then over here, we have the mass-produced mosquitoes getting ready to give us the eggs to go out directly into the field. It's crazy how they sound. You might wonder, what do we feed all these mosquitoes here? Well, I can tell you, we've got the good stuff in here. On the top shelf, literally, we've got the blood. They love it. Once the mosquitoes are grown, they're ready to go out into the field. The first way is to get the eggs and package them in a gelatin capsule with food. Voila. There's 300 eggs in here and enough food for the mosquitoes to be able to grow. They just need to be dropped in water. The other approach is to take the adults themselves. Here we have 300, and they can be released off the back of a motorbike or even packaged into a drone for aerial release. Over half the world's population is currently suffering or at risk of contracting these diseases. We have a solution, and our goal is to scale and deliver it to communities around the world that need it.
The electromechanical differential analyzer performs scientific and industrial marvels.
Grace Hopper was the first person who came up with the concept of real programming languages and compilers. And what she enabled was computers to be used in business, because now you could write more complex programs.
Captain Hopper is a whiz at mathematics. Some would say a genius. One of that small band of brothers and sisters who ushered in the computer revolution. And as far as we've progressed since this vacuum tube monster, Captain Hopper says, we ain't seen nothing yet.
Thank you. A world-first vaccine developed with AI has the potential to help prevent the next global pandemic. Scientists at the University of Cambridge say the vaccine could protect against entire families of viruses, including future coronavirus strains. Researchers say the technology could one day even eliminate the need to constantly update vaccines to keep up with virus mutations.
You talk a lot about the computer revolution. I thought we're in it and it's over.
No, we're only at the beginning. We've been through the preliminaries.
Well, what's it going to be like?
We've got the Model T.
Grace Hopper had a piss and vinegar personality. She was like a great Navy person. She could curse with the best of them. And she ran that crew as if she were a Navy commander. She stays in the Navy the rest of her career. In fact, they keep extending her retirement because she's writing programming languages for the Navy all the way through.
People believe that she coined the term bug because of a moth that was found in the vacuum tube. So then they kept saying that they would have a bug in the system.
New information is coming in about the Clade X virus. Let's go right to our medical reporter, Emily Schmidt, for details. Emily?
Gene, anonymous U.S. government sources have told GNN that the genetic sequences of Clade X from the initial Frankfurt case reveal the virus has some genetic elements of the Nipah virus mixed in with the para-influenza genes. Some experts have speculated on social media that this new virus may not have occurred naturally. They suspect the virus escaped from a laboratory researching a vaccine for Nipah. Others say it is probably occurring naturally, and there may have been some exchange of genetic elements between the viruses. CDC and WHO cannot confirm these reports and say they have no evidence of a laboratory mishap or that the virus is a biological weapon.
She was working on one of her early machines and found this moth. And in her lab notebooks from this period, we have this description of the very first computer bug, and it's taped right into the notebook. And debugging, of course, is one of the things that's so hard about programming. It never quite works the first time around, and the context is always changing. And so she's not just giving it a language, she's also really defining what is important and what's intellectually challenging and stimulating about programming.
GNN has just learned a group calling itself A Brighter Dawn, or ABD, is claiming responsibility for the creation and intentional release of the Clade X virus. In a YouTube video, a spokesman for the group says the goal is to reduce the human population to pre-industrial levels. That, he says, will bring the world back into balance.
When the first electronic computer was planned, it was estimated that there could never be a market for more than 2 or 3. Today, there are more than 5,000 computers.
This is our cold water pressure in the kitchen. This is where I fill up water for storage. Those are the things we have to fill up to flush the toilets.
So you can see the sediment from the data center. Wow, and that's just from the water coming out of your faucet.
Yeah, and this is what's in all the pipes.
So that is the dark side of living near one of the 4,000 data centers in this country. Did you have any idea there were that many? A data center, which is essentially a giant warehouse with millions of servers, and every time you Google something, your device sends a signal to a data center, and in nanoseconds, your device gets a response back. But with demand growing for AI, demand's also growing for these data centers, which are absolutely enormous. One in Texas called Project Matador is as big as 15 Disneylands and uses as much power as the state of Colorado requires every year. It also uses over 1 billion gallons of water per year. And the public, as always, have been basically kept in the dark by companies like Meta and Amazon, who claim they're creating jobs. But what the rest of the media are not talking about is what life is like for people who have homes near these data centers. Water restrictions, no water, higher energy bills, and unbelievable noise. In Georgia, one data center used 30 million gallons of water, leaving residents without any water. In Utah, a data center that's currently under construction is going to require more energy than the entire state of Utah times 2 annually. And after years of climate nonsense and hysteria, apparently billionaires like Mark Zuckerberg don't care about the climate anymore, because a single data center can generate the same amount of heat as 23 atomic bombs being dropped daily.
The spokesman is anonymous. He speaks English, but with what sounds like a British or European accent. Intelligence sources say they were aware of the group, but there were no indications ABD intended to launch any kind of attack. The CDC and WHO are not commenting on the authenticity of ABD's claims that it created the clade X virus in a laboratory, subsequently unleashing it on the world.
But we have something much bigger. Your kids probably have one of these, right? Not quite. Hell of a pilot? No. That skill is all AI. It's flying itself. Its processor can react 100 times faster than a human. The stochastic motion is an anti-sniper feature. Just like any mobile device these days, it has cameras and sensors, and just like your phones and social media apps, it does facial recognition. Inside here is 3 grams of shaped explosive. This is how it works. Did you see that? That little bang is enough to penetrate the skull and destroy the contents. They used to say guns don't kill people. People do. Well, people don't. They get emotional, disobey orders, aim high. Let's watch the weapons make the decisions. Now, trust me, these were all bad guys. Now that is an airstrike of surgical precision. It's one of a range of products. Trained as a team, they can penetrate buildings, cars, trains, evade people, bullets, pretty much any countermeasure. They cannot be stopped. Now, I said this was big. Why? Because we are thinking big. Watch. A $25 million order now buys this. Enough to kill half a city. The bad half. Nuclear is obsolete. Take out your entire enemy, virtually risk-free. Just characterize him, release the swarm, and rest easy. These are available today. We have a distribution network taking orders from military, law enforcement, and specialist clients.
The nation is still recovering from yesterday's incident, which officials are describing as some kind of automated attack, which killed 11 U.S. senators at the Capitol building.
At this point of the show, the host would do something fun and spontaneous to show how we're all just ordinary people, like ordering pizza for everyone.
But since we already get food at the Globes, we thought we'd mix it up and try something new. So roll up your sleeves, Hollywood, because you're all getting flu shots! You know you wore a sleeveless gown for a reason.
Hey, shot, 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 shot. Excuse me, ma'am, you're definitely gonna want to get Defoe. Great.
These nurses are all licensed professionals straight from the Rite Aid in Echo Park.
And look, if you're an anti-vaxxer, just put a napkin over your head and we'll skip you.
Are you aware that from 2004 to 2014, 0 people in the U.S. died from contracting measles, according to the CDC? During this same time, 108 people died from the MMR vaccine, according to the Vaccine Adverse Events Reporting System. Are you aware that a 2011 study conducted by the Ottawa Hospital Research Institute found that 1 in 168 babies had emergency room visits within 4 to 12 days after their 12-month MMR vaccination, and that several children died during the study? The number of deaths was not disclosed. 1 in 168 is a lot higher than the 1 in a million vaccine injury risk that parents are told about, isn't it? Are you aware the CDC holds 50 patents on vaccines and sells $5 billion a year worth of vaccines? Are you aware that Merck's package insert on the MMR vaccine lists death as only one of dozens of possible side effects? Have any of you read a vaccine insert? Are you aware that the U.S. Congress has ruled vaccines are unavoidably unsafe? Are you aware that vaccine safety studies are almost always conducted by the vaccine manufacturers, and that none of the vaccines on the childhood schedule were tested against a true inert placebo? They were tested against an older vaccine or an adjuvant such as aluminum. Are you aware that pharmaceutical drugs under the FDA are safety tested for an average of 4.5 years prior to licensing? Vaccines are tested on average for 4.5 days prior to licensing. 4.5 days versus 4.5 years. Are you aware that a Harvard Pilgrim Hospital study funded by Health and Human Services in the U.S. revealed that less than 1% of vaccine injuries are reported? This means that more than 99% of vaccine adverse reactions are not reported or acknowledged. Are you aware that the U.S. Vaccine Injury Compensation Program has paid out more than $4 billion due to vaccine injury and death? Are you aware that Canada is the only G7 nation without a vaccine injury compensation program? The CDC uses Institute of Medicine reports to support their claim that vaccines do not cause autism. IOM's 2011 report on autism concludes, quote, "The evidence is inadequate to accept or reject a causal relationship between diphtheria toxoid, tetanus toxoid, and acellular pertussis containing vaccines and autism," end quote. Institute of Medicine's 2011 safety report reviewed varicella, tetanus, hepatitis B, and MMR vaccines. 155 health conditions were studied. In 134 cases out of 155, the literature was inadequate to accept or reject causation. Does this sound like the science is settled to you? If you are not aware of these facts, then you have no business imposing this poorly tested medical procedure on Ontario's children. And if you are aware, then you are participating in medical and scientific fraud. The vast majority of parents of vaccine-injured or killed children now know the truth. They know the science is inadequate to support claims that vaccines are safe. See paragraph above. You will not silence these parents through censorship, shaming, mandates, and manipulation. Until Health Canada authorizes an independent long-term study of vaccinated versus unvaccinated, you are wasting everyone's time. No amount of pressure from Health Canada, Public Health, the Toronto Board of Health, or the corporate control media will ever convince us otherwise. Our trust has been broken. In a 2018 Globe and Mail opinion piece, Neil Rao and Richard Shabazz said this: "The borderline hysteria fueled by the media and public health that greets a few cases of measles is unwarranted." Mr. Rao is a respected immunologist on the staff of University of Toronto. Dr. Shabazz recently held the post of Chief Medical Officer of Health for Ontario. Perhaps you should listen to one of your own. Congress was blackmailed into drafting the NCVIA in 1986. Does everyone know what that is? Just in case. National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act. Vaccine manufacturers were losing multiple big money lawsuits surrounding injury and death of their products. They demanded Congress pass a law to give them legal immunity. In doing so, Congress said you must do safety studies annually and you must report to Congress every 2 years. In a 2018 lawsuit, it was proven that HHS did neither of those things. No studies and no reports to Congress for 30 years. Your science has settled one-size-fits-all agenda intended to lead all citizens down the path of compulsory vaccination is in direct violation of the Ontario Healthcare Consent Act, the Universal Declaration of Bioethics and Human Rights, the Nuremberg Code, and the Charter of Rights and Freedoms in the Canadian Constitution, as supported by a Health Canada statement. This is Canada. It is not Salem, Massachusetts, 1692. It is not Berlin, 1939. This will not stand. Thank you for your time.
And so I deeply appreciate your leadership there as well. Thank you.
Really, and a really amazing job you've done. Bill, would you like to say a few words?
Well, I'm in the second phase of my career, giving away all the wonderful money that Satya's good work has helped multiply a lot. But I think the thing that ties my first career that I still spend some time on because AI is so phenomenal, and my second career is innovation, innovating in health in areas like vaccines or gene editing, and the President and I are talking about taking American innovation to the next level to cure and even eradicate some of these diseases. He mentioned polio, which is one that we're close. We don't need new science on that one. For some like HIV and sickle cell, we do need new science, but the U.S. has the seeds that in the same way that Warp Speed took those seeds and put them together, I think something fantastic can be done. AI for our foundation is that we want a doctor for everyone in Africa through AI. We want farmers to have incredible advice and kids to have a chance to learn. So the work being done by the people at this table is changing the world. It's coming fast, so it's great. We all get together and talk about how the U.S. can lead in this key area and apply it even to the poorest outside the U.S. as well as to our great citizens. So thank you for incredible leadership, including getting this group together.
Thank you, Bill. That was very nice.
You are being watched. The government has a secret system, a machine that spies on you every hour of every day. I know because I built it. I designed the machine to detect acts of terror, but it sees everything. Violent crimes involving ordinary people, people like you. Crimes the government considered irrelevant. They wouldn't act, so I decided I would. But I needed a partner. Someone with the skills to intervene. Hunted by the authorities. We work in secret. You'll never find us. But victim or perpetrator, if your number's up, we'll find you.
know these things are coming, but we don't fixate on them all the time. What we do is we want to keep our focus on Christ. When you're not fearful and you find your place in Christ, Psalm 91 is a great prayer of protection for the Christian believer, that if you claim that scripture for yourself and dwell in the hiding place of Jesus Christ, he will protect you. There's promises in that scripture for you. Just lean on Christ, surrender to Christ, believe that Christ and everything he says he means, and they're all promises that you can take to the bank. And we will persevere and stand in this time. It's the greatest time to be alive. It's the greatest time to be witnessing the return of Jesus Christ. It's the greatest time in human history.
A future that Ernest Cline, the writer of the book, envisioned. I was very careful with Ernie collaborating with me every step of the way to be able to find the movie narrative inside this dense forest of Ernie's profound imagination.
The Oasis being the ultimate toy box with all the toys in the world, and then playing that with one of the greatest filmmakers of all time. It results in just amazing action and such a fun adventure.
Ernest Cline is such a visionary, and I think has seen the future before any of us possibly could even imagine it.